November 2010, Jeffrey Epstein was in Abu Dhabi, and he sends an email to Ghislaine Maxwell with a screenshot of his location on Google Maps. But if you look in the search bar in that screenshot, it doesn't say Abu Dhabi. It says 189 Chrystie. That's the street address in New York for the box. Behind the heavy unmarked doors of a defunct sign factory on Chrystie Street in Manhattan, the global elite gather to witness the unspeakable. A performance artist named Miss Rosewood commands the stage, and her act routinely features blood and feces. On any night, someone who's there might see a performer dressed as reproductive organs dancing under lights, or men in pig masks licking food directly off the stomachs of dancers. And the audience watching this grotesque scene is populated by Hollywood royalty and Wall Street titans. Leonardo DiCaprio once had a condom emptied on him by a performer. This is the Box, billed as a theater of variety. The nightclub has a reputation as one of the most exclusive, controversial venues in the world. It's a sanctuary where extreme wealth purchases the ultimate luxury, complete suspension of societal norms. But the choreographed depravity that happens on stage is just a distraction. The shadowy social networks that are at its VIP tables show a much darker dynamic. The Box is for the modern elite. It's a world where the boundary between entertainment and exploitation vanishes. The orbits of the global elite work together, creating an environment for predators like Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. As you dig deeper into the foundation of this club, the faster the glamour goes away. The Box was founded and conceptualized by Simon Hammerstein. Hammerstein is the grandson of the legendary Broadway lyricist Oscar Hammerstein, the man behind The Sound of Music. And Simon got his grandfather's theatrical instinct, although he chose to take it in a bit of a different direction. He would partner with theater producers Richard Kimmel and Randy Weiner as he envisioned a venue that would resurrect the world of 19th century circus freakery and old world vaudeville. In 2007, the trio bought a 1935 sign factory on Chrystie Street in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. The space was designed to evoke a sense of decay. But the genius of the Box wasn't on how it was designed on the inside. It was based on its business model of finding something that you could find nowhere else. The founders understood that the ultra wealthy aren't impressed by standard luxury. To attract the global elite, they needed to offer something that could not be bought with money, but required something else. Go back to July 2006, and Epstein had just been arrested for procuring a minor. The heat is on, and most people would be laying low, but not Epstein. Eyewitness Philip Escaravage spotted him at a highly exclusive private pre-opening event for the Box. Epstein showed up with a female friend, and according to Escaravage, the open secret was that Epstein was an investor. And there's support for that. In February 2014, Epstein paid over $30,000 to the trust funds of Simon Hammerstein's first three cousins, Martha Hammerstein, Patricia Benner, and Peter Mathias. They secured investments and advisory roles from A-list celebrities, including Oscar-winning actress Rachel Weisz, actor Jude Law, and the musician Moby. Not sure who is impressed by Moby nowadays, but I'm sure somebody is. The involvement of these celebrities legitimized the venue, transforming it into a cabaret where table minimums could hit the thousands for a single night. And the strategy was successful. Within months of its soft opening, the Box became the hardest club to get into in New York City. It was a hedonistic playground that demanded the crazy fees for the privilege of being close to this madness. The Box provides a curated environment where the elite can experience danger, shock, and disgust, all while remaining protected by heavy security. The performances themselves are designed to have no boundaries. The master of ceremonies, Raven O, reportedly welcomed people by encouraging them to consume endless narcotics and answer every dark fetish. Acts routinely involved nudity and exhibitionism. As the club's notoriety grew, the performances had to escalate to maintain its shock factor. The significance of the Box, though, extends beyond a nightclub. It was a crucial node in the social network of the global elite. And this is how Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell operated with decades of impunity. They operated in extreme exclusivity. To show how these networks overlap, right as the box was becoming infamous in New York nightlife, on March 13th, 2007, Simon Hammerstein was photographed as a guest at an intimate high society dinner party. The event was supposed to be in honor of designer Allegra Hicks, and the location of this elite gathering was the East 65th Street Manhattan townhouse belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell. Photographs show Hammerstein smiling alongside Maxwell and actor Josh Lucas in the very townhouse that would later be central to trafficking investigations. Here we have Hammerstein in Maxwell's private residence, the creator of Manhattan's most notoriously deviant sex club and a woman later convicted of orchestrating a global trafficking ring, were navigating the exact same space of untouchable wealth and influence. Serving time in prison didn't stop him from going to the box. After his release, the box rolled out the red carpet for him. On September 14th, 2010, he was seated at the hyper-exclusive Hammerstein table. And on December 2nd, 2014, he was hand-walked onto the VIP list. Even when Epstein wasn't there, he was pulling strings. On the club's official opening night in February 2007, Epstein's employee, Rana Jalashkar, emailed him about an invite. Epstein was at his private island, so he told Rana to go in his place. This story would be broken and explored by investigative journalist Jamie Crawford. Crawford is the creator of the Substack, The Big Club. The overlap of the patrons of the box and Epstein and Maxwell is intentional. Staff was plugged into the club. There are emails to Epstein's assistant, Leslie Groff, from an unidentified contact talking about a date that they went on with the box club owner and giving a breakdown of the bizarre stage show. When places like the box normalize extreme deviance and exploitation, they create a cultural blind spot. Predators like Epstein and Maxwell thrived in this blind spot, utilizing normalized debauchery of the elite class as a camouflage for their illegal operations. Jeffrey Epstein's accumulation of wealth and power is one of the haziest parts of his criminal enterprise. He was a financier, but he was also an extortionist, a Ponzi swindler, and he manufactured leverage. His entire MO was linked to the concept of the box, a term that echoes throughout his life. Journalist Vicky Ward details how Epstein utilized a strategy of calm, control, con to infiltrate the lives of billionaires. Epstein was an apex predator who viewed human beings as commodities and vulnerabilities as assets. He openly bragged about his ability to manipulate powerful figures, a technique he referred to as playing the box. The phrase playing the box had a literal meaning while Epstein worked as Steve Hoffenberg's mentee. Hoffenberg was the creator of the massive Towers financial Ponzi scheme in the 1980s and 90s. Hoffenberg would later admit that Epstein was involved in the illegal insurance bond schemes and stock manipulations that defrauded investors. Epstein learned to con the conman, manipulating financial systems while building an impenetrable social armor. But Epstein's true currency was compromise. Epstein's career is the ultimate manifestation of blackmail capitalism. Epstein recognized that the ultimate asset was leverage over the ruling class, exploiting gender, wealth, and power. This form of blackmail requires a pre-existing social relationship and a controlled environment. VIP rooms, private islands, and highly exclusive boundary-pushing nightclubs are ideal hunting grounds for this type of operation. In spaces where extreme wealth expects absolute privacy to fulfill every dark fetish, a predator equipped with surveillance capabilities can harvest enough leverage to secure lifelong immunity. Epstein weaponized the social dynamics of the ultra-wealthy against him, ensuring that his own survival was tied to the reputations of the most powerful men on earth. It was a system that worked right up until the steel door slammed shut. And of course, Ghislaine Maxwell was always working the room. In December 2006, at one of the club's very first documented private events, Ghislaine Maxwell was there. And a couple months later, in early 2007, she was back at the box for the 50th birthday of luxury hoteler Andre Ballas. Epstein wasn't at the party, but immediately emailed her to ask her how it went. There was a disconnect between the wealthy patrons watching the spectacle and the reality of the workers working it. Billionaires and celebrities laughed at the staged degeneracy, but the floor staff operated in an environment with massive exploitation. The dark underbelly was dragged into the light through civil litigation. In late 2021 and 2022, multiple lawsuits were filed against 189 Chrystie Street Partners LP, Variety Worldwide LLC, Simon Hammerstein, and other executives, exposing the internal mechanisms of the box. A lawsuit filed by Chanel Martinez, a former bottle server at the club from 2017 to 2020, alleged severe sexual harassment, wage and hour violations, and trafficking. The complaint shows a culture of abuse from the top down. Martinez alleged that upon hiring, management instructed her to accept that male patrons would be handsy, demanding that she flirt and provide anything that they wanted, implicitly including sexual favors. The allegations that were against Hammerstein personally were chilling. The complaint said that within Martinez's first month, Hammerstein brought her to a private room and bathroom designed for female staff to provide sexual services to customers and employers. According to the filing, Hammerstein explicitly stated that he had engaged in sexual intercourse with women in that specific stall, boasting that he installed a mirror specifically so he could watch himself during the act. The exploitation was, of course, both physical and financial. Defendants reportedly required Martinez to recruit high-spending clients by dressing provocatively and scouting bars 5 nights a week. Despite promises of a 10% commission on the spending of the clients she recruited, she alleged that the club withheld her wages and retaliated when she complained. Class action filings by other employees outlined rampant wage theft, claiming that the club illegally retained tips to pay back-of-house staff and management, ignoring New York labor law tip credit provisions. The legal documents show a brutal reality. The elite paid thousands of dollars to feel rebellious in a safe environment, insulated from the reality that the women serving them champagne were coerced labor. The box was a place where the bodies of lower-income workers were used to entertain the ruling class. The appetite for this brand of debauchery wasn't limited to Manhattan. It was an exportable asset. Hammerstein recognized the universal appetite for the global elite for this type of product, and his team began an expansion into London. Hammerstein spent a significant amount of time in the British capital and sought a venue with genuine historical infamy to replicate his New York outpost. In February 2011, the box opened its doors at 1112 Walker's Court. The location was specifically chosen. It was the former site of the Doric Ballroom and the legendary Raymond Review Bar. The Raymond Review Bar was created by British sex baron Paul Raymond, and the Review Bar was a pioneer of the Soho red light district. By operating as a members-only club, it would allow his venue to be the first in the country to feature moving full-frontal nudity. Hammerstein and his team restored the venue, going so far as to incorporate antique tiles from an old butcher shop to authenticate the atmosphere of historical grime. The New York club had to fake its ghosts, but the Soho location came preloaded with them. The British elite embraced the club with immediate enthusiasm. Almost overnight, the Box Soho became the undisputed epicenter of late-night access for London's most powerful figures. The guest list is a roster of untouchables: Kate Moss, Emma Watson, Keira Knightley, and high-profile members of the British royal family, including Princess Beatrice and Prince Harry. Yet, much like its American sister, the Soho Club's aggressive push for boundary-breaking entertainment frequently bled into serious legal and ethical violations. There was a lawsuit in 2008 where 2 twin sister performers accused Hammerstein of pressuring them into sexual acts. The London venue has also faced severe scrutiny from local authorities. In early 2015, the club's license was suspended by the Westminster Council after police received an allegation that a male customer had been the victim of a serious SA by a performer during an act. The venue delayed reporting the incident to the police, violating its licensing conditions and prompting authorities to brand the club a risk to the public. These incidents show a recurring operational hazard of the box. When a business model relies entirely on pushing the boundaries of sexual acceptability for the amusement of untouchable billionaires, the line between performance art and actionable SA collapses. It was in this collapsed space where morals were fluid and money was absolute that the darkest figures of the 21st century found their perfect hunting ground. The intricate web of blackmail, high society dinners, and VIP room impunity unraveled in the summer of 2019. Epstein was found dead in the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Lower Manhattan. The man who had spent his life manipulating systems and playing the box was found dead in the box. And after his death, the judicial system's focus shifted to his co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, who was arrested in July 2020. In December 2021, she was found guilty of 5 counts related to trafficking of minors, ending the charade of her untouchability. Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell had their fingerprints all over the box, and the environment that fostered them shows just how powerful unchecked power is. The world that they inhabited was lit by the chandeliers of townhouses and the stage lights of Soho cabarets. Places like the Box served as a perfect example of this reality. They are spaces where the ultra-wealthy are trained to believe that with enough money, every boundary can be crossed, everybody can be purchased, and every consequence can be kept firmly behind a velvet rope. What happens on the stage is never the real story. The real story is the blackmail, the trafficking, the accumulation of leverage, and the destruction of lives. And that happens in the shadows. Fueled by champagne, the show was just a cover. Please make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. Please like and share this video. If you would like to support my channel, you can become a member of my channel. I appreciate you considering this. You can also support my channel by liking, sharing, commenting on, and hyping my videos. And I do appreciate you watching my videos. And please stay spooky.